Want to play a build that nukes everything? Maps? Your GPU? Pinnacle bosses? And yep, they all get one shot. While being insanely tanky, basically AFK farming T4 simulacrums, that's fast as hell, and obviously fun as hell. Of course you do, you dirty dog. I'm presenting to you my Titty Twister Strength Stacker Herald Chaining Chaos Inoculation Whirlwind Slasher Titan build, or just simply TTS-SHCCIWSTB for short. It's definitely one of the fastest, easiest, and most fun builds I've played so far in PoE 2. And in this one, we'll cover everything you need to get it online. And mind you, it's easy to do so. So I'll provide you both with a cheap budget version and a slightly more expensive one if you want to start juicing for real. With that said, let's see what's going on here and the interactions making the build work. Firstly, our twisters. To understand the build, you must understand how to twist titties. Firstly, the skill in itself is rather dog shit. It deals perhaps a few 100,000 DPS at most, and that's only if you actually hit enemies with it. Because that's an issue, you can't really control where they end up. Perhaps they'll deal damage, perhaps they'll fuck off to Uganda or something. To offset this, we're firstly stacking two things: area of effect and additional twisters. Doing this, at least they'll hit things. But we can do better than that, because by combining twisters with whirlwind slash, we can have our twisters consume the whirlwinds to deal a buttload of additional damage. So now it actually hits enemies and it deals damage. But guess what? We can do even better than that. Because the twisters also consume ground effects, meaning ignited ground, shocked ground, and chilled ground to gain extra elemental damage as well. And now, my friends, they not only hit enemies, but they deal a shit ton of damage. And they deal elemental damage as well. And you know what that means? Correct? They now shock and builds freeze on enemies. And this is where our beautiful herald chaining interaction comes into play. Firstly, we're going to convert out Herald of Thunder into cold damage and have it work in combination with our cold twisters to freeze all enemies around us. Once enemies are frozen and we kill them, we shatter them via Herald of Ice. Here's the problem though. The interaction typically stops here and we can't chain any further. But by introducing Armor Explosion into the mix, we can have our Herald of Ice break enemy armor, have Armor Explosion explode. And if Armor Explosion kills the enemy, then Herald of Ice can trigger again. And if Herald of Ice breaks enemy armor, then Armor Explosion can trigger again. And so forth. Basically, as long as Herald of Thunder or our other skills freeze enemies, and we allow for Herald of Ice and Armor Explosion to do its thing, then everything will just explode. Your enemies, GPU, me, you name it. And here's the best part. When mapping, your twisters spread out all over the goddamn map. Because stacking skill effect duration and projectile speed is like injecting your twisters with a bathtub full of steroids. They're covering everything everywhere, and as long as they hit just one enemy, the herald chaining is triggered, clearing the screen once more. Pretty cool, huh? Damn right. Now let's cover the elephant in the room. Not you losing weight, fatso, but rather strength stacking. Why are we doing it? Here I want to give a shout out to Syndicus for showcasing this concept, and it's rather cool. Firstly, by stacking strength, we are able to use the Iron Grasp armor. This grants us Iron Grip, allowing us to stack up somewhere in the ballpark of 400 to 500% extra damage with close to zero investment. On top of that, we have some extra nodes in the passive tree granting us extra damage and accuracy, the latter resulting in attack speed. But also due to an insane interaction utilizing the Heroic Tragedy Jewel. As long as this jewel has the line remembrancing Yada Yada Varana, it will transform nearby keystones to this banger of a node, granting us 1% energy shield per 2 strength. Because using this, we will be able to stack energy shield easily. Currently, I have 6,000 energy shield without using a single energy shield node in the passive tree, meaning you can easily get it above 10,000 if you want to. But since I also have a shit ton of crowd control in the form of freeze, there's not really any point in me getting more currently. I'm already unkillable. Finally, there's one more interaction you need to know about before copy-pasting the build. And that is how we create ignited, chilled, and shocked ground. In this version, we will only use ignited and chilled ground. The ignited ground will spawn via cock, and the chilled ground will get via our lovely companion, along with gaining it every time our Herald of Thunder freezes an enemy, allowing us to keep both of these up at all times. And when it comes to shocked ground, you can just grab maps that has shocked ground in them if you want, or do like me, shove it up my ass, that is, because it's not needed. On pinnacle bosses in particular, I'm also using a broken interaction, granting me 150% extra lightning damage, but more on that soon, because now, my friends, it's time to check out the gear needed to play the build. And here's the best part of the build. All of the mandatory uniques are cheap as fuck. Firstly, we're using the Sacred Flame Shrine Scepter. You want one with as high spirit as you can find, to be able to use all of our skills. And how much does this one cost? 1 divine. If you can afford it, then get one with a higher roll on the extra fire damage as well, because my roll sucks balls. Next, you're going to want an Astramentus, not only for the strength, but also because it solves both your dexterity and intelligence requirements, which in turn allows you to stack even more strength. Also, another cheap item. You want Essentia Sanguis wraps. This is how we regenerate our energy shield. Using this, we gain energy from Life Leech, and this is mandatory that you grab on one of your rings, along with Mana Leech. And since Twisters deal a shit ton of physical damage, it's fantastic for leeching. And finally, this lovely body armor, allowing us to gain damage from strength. These are the mandatory parts: the scepter, Astramentus, leech, gloves, and the body armor. Now all there is left to do is scale as much energy shield and damage as possible while capping our resistances. For your helmet, you want something like this one. As much energy shield as possible with resistances. You can also ditch one of the resistances here if you want room for item rarity. As sneakers, exactly the same thing. Energy shield and resistances. You don't need the movement speed though, so there's definitely room for more energy shield here. For belt, headhunter if you can afford it, in which case get one with a bunch of strength. If you don't have one, then go for the ingenuity belt. It's a banger as well. For your rings, damage, strength, and more damage. If you want attack speed, however, then you need accuracy here, which is what I'm doing right now. And if you want to stack item rarity, then you simply remove either one damage roll or accuracy. This build has such fantastic damage and speed anyways, so you will barely feel a difference. And finally, your weapons. For weapon set 1, you want a Sky Sliver. This is the best weapon when all you care about is attack speed. It has fast weapon speed and a bunch of attack speed. You'd need a truly insane spear to find something better. Oh, and by the way, this one's cheap as hell as well. For the other weapon, your main prio is high damage and crit chance. This one's pretty perfect. Also, make sure to slot in a Asakawal rune here, because you want that gain damage as cold, to ensure you're always freezing enemies for your heralds to trigger. And that's about it. For charms, having the Fall of the Axe Silver charm is good of course, but not mandatory. The same goes for the Rite of Passage charms. I'm using the Stag personally, but any other will do. Finally, the Valakos Roar is actually excellent, allowing you to get extra frenzy charges for your barrage every now and then, resulting in more twisters. Yummers. Alright, so that's the gear. But before we continue, make sure to drop a sub, you fucking hunk of a man or woman. And also, I have an entire assortment of swaps you can do here. When stacking rarity, these are the rings I'm using. Having these 1 and Ingenuity Belt will get me to that 150 rarity that is so desirable. For negative rarity farming, Venter's Gamble of course, and when nuking pinnacle bosses, I'm using the Crown of Eyes helmet. Not mandatory, but it allows us to get the second damage bonus from our Iron Grasp body armor. That is, the increased spell damage now also applies to our attacks, so we're getting both 400 to 500% damage increase from the Iron Grip, but now also Iron Grasp. Pretty nice. For mapping though, I prefer to be tanky. And finally, some alternative gems. The main one to care about right now is this, Ambrosia. As you can see, I'm currently rocking 2 mana flasks. That's pretty fucked up. Am I cheating or something? Well, sort of. Using the Wastegate belt, you can equip 2 mana flasks. And if you remove the belt, you get to keep them. Now slot in Ambrosia into your twisters, and every time you use it, you'll get 150% extra lightning damage as long as you stack a shit ton of increased charges on your mana flasks. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, and broken. I'm only using this tech when farming pinnacle bosses though, as there are some better gems when mapping. Let's check them out. Firstly, we have Purity of Fire. This is from the Scepter, and we don't really care about this one as we're mainly going to be in Weapon Set 1. Instead, we'll take a look at the twisters. Here we're using Inevitable Critical, allowing us to stack up a bunch of crit chance. This is fantastic because while we're spinning around and moving around the map, we're stacking this bad boy up, allowing us to crit when we eventually decide to use our twisters. We use the same concept for the next gem, Salvo. Having this, we're stacking up additional twisters over time, and then we spend them all at once, for a total of 6 additional twisters. Now that's a lot of twisted titties. We then slap on the Overreach gem for additional AoE, projectile acceleration to make them fast as fuck, and finally Rakiata's Flow, if you can afford it. It doesn't really matter if you can't though, because there are 2 other fantastic ways of solving elemental penetration. All you need to do is slot in Elemental Weakness and Frost Bomb into your cock, and you'll remove all enemy resistances just like that. Rakiata is fantastic on maps with increased elemental resistances though. Also, use this in Weapon Set 2 only. They'll snapshot, so their full duration is going to use Weapon Set 2 for maximum damage. Next, the other way around for Whirlwind Slash, as we're only using it for mobility and boosting our twisters. Due to this, you also want to grab a low-level Whirlwind Slash to make sure it doesn't spend mana, and you'll be able to spam it all day long. We boost our attack speed further via Rage 3 Rapid Attacks, Heightened Accuracy, where we will transform accuracy into attack speed via the passive tree Rigvold's Ferocity. And again, we only want this skill in Weapon Set 1 for this and finally Magnified Area, because there's nothing we can really put here, so may as well grab some additional AoE. Next, we have Barrage. You generally use this pretty much every time before you cast your twisters. You'd use Whirlwind Slash 3 times or more, Barrage, Twister, gaining both extra twisters and damage. We boost it further via cooldown reduction, heightened charges. For when we have frenzy charges, perpetual charge for same reason, although having frenzy charges is not consistent, it's still useful, and finally rapid casting to make it faster to cast. When it comes to our Herald of Thunder, it kind of sucks balls. We're only using it to create chilled ground. And why does it suck balls? Well, it sucks balls because every time we weapon swap, we lose our Herald of Thunder buff, and we can't regain it while in Weapon Set 1. So we're only really relying on it freezing nearby enemies, followed by creating chilled ground, along with having it start the Herald chaining. To do this, we have Frost Nexus for the chilled ground, followed by Elemental Armament, Magnified Area, Embitter, and Freeze for additional freeze buildup and AoE. When it comes to Herald of Ice though, this is where the money's at. This one you can set to Weapon Set 2, and it will keep triggering regardless. Boost it via Cold Mastery and the Armor Break combo. Uol's Embrace allows it to break armor equal to a portion its chaos damage. We nearly double this armor break via Uruk's Smelting, and then we have Armor Explosion triggering explosions when it breaks armor. A lovely combo indeed. And of course, Magnified Area for Giga AoE. Next, our trusty companion. This annoying fucker spawns frost circles for us, which we can use for our twisters. It also grants us haste aura, which is nice. Combine it with Magnified Area for bigger circles, loyalty for damage reduction, minion mastery because why not, and Brutus's brain so that it doesn't die. Finally, our cock. We'll use this to spawn our flame wall, which is insanely important on bosses, because this counts as ignited ground, meaning if our twisters pass through it, they gain the fire damage buff. And using Fortress, the ignited ground is created as a circle around us, ensuring that all of our twisters get the buff. I wasn't using this in all of the footage, but holy hell is it insanely good. So don't sleep on it. I'm then using Ice Nova due to its high chill and freeze buildup, allowing us to stagger bosses more easily and create chilled ground in maps if we're lucky. And then Boundless Energy for additional energy. And for final skill, Wind Dancer. I have this in weapon set 1, allowing me to gain some evasion while I'm spinning, but I'm also using Culmination here. Because having this, Wind Dancer generates combo, and if an enemy hits us, the combo is spent on Aelith's Chimes, allowing us to get a power charge. But power charges are useless for us, so we use Charge Profusion for a chance to get a Frenzy Charge. Again, we generally have a hard time generating Frenzy Charges in this build, but when we get them, it's a nice damage bonus. Finally, I'm also using it to socket in precision for increased accuracy and maim for defense. Good job, friends. Gems complete. Let's check out the passive tree, why I'm playing Titan, and what you can do if you're playing another Ascendancy. And the reason for using Titan is twofold: increased strength and increased passive skill bonuses. I tested other Ascendancies in POB, but this one just couldn't be beaten. It's too goddamn good. And since we're dealing a shit ton of physical damage, we can utilize Crushing Blows for stunning enemies, allowing us to gain a 50% damage bonus against them and extra crowd control. Now, if you're playing another Ascendancy, Deadeye, Ritualist, or Amazon, to name a few other great Ascendancies for this build, then the route would look nearly the same. We're mainly moving down here, so just get to the main road and you should be fine. No detours, please. Alright, for Titan though, we start moving down, grabbing a bunch of strength. Green here is weapon set 2, where we want AoE and damage for our twisters. For weapon set 1, we go for attack speed and some accuracy, followed by a lot more accuracy and also defense. Next, we head off to the highway, where we find brute strength, which you only need in weapon set 2, granting us 80% damage or so. When it comes to the jewels, you should get these: double attack speed and damage modifiers, where companion damage is the best one. No one's using these, so you should be able to get them cheap and start corrupting like a madman. Keep moving along the highway, grab all of the strength you can find until you get to this from Nothing Jewel. You want one of these with Walker of the Wilds. You'll see soon why. Here we find some attack speed, along with more attack speed Falcon Dive, which is the node converting accuracy into attack speed. I'm not going that hard on accuracy personally, but it's still a banger attack speed bonus. Dance with Death, which is why I'm not using an offhand in weapon set 1. And then the reason companion damage is so great, Inspiring Ally. And we also want easy going here, because that frozen mandible pet is expensive. Then some extra accuracy and this big-ass cluster. This is why we wanted the Walker in the Wilds from Nothing Jewel. Having that here, and socketing Anne against the Darkness Jewel with increased strength, we can grab all of these insanely strong nodes for strength, damage, and evasion. Simply a fantastic jewel combo. Then, some damage, and our most important jewel, the heroic tragedy jewel. And in case you skipped the intro, firstly, fuck you, and secondly, you 100% need this line, Varana. Because having this, it will transform a keystone to this, allowing us to stack energy shield from strength, and in turn, not die. All of the other mumbo-jumbo on this jewel we don't really care about. Instead, go all the way up here to get chaos inoculation, allowing us to ditch chaos resistance, and for the love of God, don't skip these ones either, because without these, you don't have any stun or ailment threshold. And finally, skill effect duration for extra twister uptime in weapons set 2. You also have extra skill effect duration all the way at the start, and you can grab those as well if you want. I went with some extra strength instead, but I'll grab them when I've got more levels. And that, my friends, is one hell of a passive tree. Good job for sticking it out this long. I'll reward you with some gameplay and how you actually play this magnificent build. It's insanely easy. First thing first, though, you need to make sure that always attack without moving is off in your whirlwind slash, because some of you brainless fucktards had this on when I made my last video, ruining my beautiful build. Once that is done, this is what you do. You hold down whirlwind slash for mobility. Make sure you've used it at least 3 times, and then you can press your barrage, followed by pressing twister. That's the entire rotation. You can even skip barrage in most circumstances. Then you just fly through the maps and repeat. For doing pinnacle bosses, I just slot in Ambrosia and my Crown of the Eyes helmet and play the same rotation. 3 whirlwind slashes, barrage and twister. If you've got decent gear, then you should one-shot any pinnacle boss in the game doing this. And if not, just do it again. And that's the build.
So long, gay boys!